Happy New Year everyone, welcome to the first Purple Penny video of 2023. Where did 2022 go? It's a public holiday here today, it's Monday, but we're in here getting a few bits and pieces done before we are back on deck officially tomorrow and reopen the shop on Wednesday. We have had a fairly restful time off. The heat has meant that we're sort of stuck to the house because we've got a trainee guide dog with us at the moment, and you can't take her out when it's too hot. But I'm getting a bit of stuff done in the background and having a bit of downtime as well, so it's been a good time for us. If you don't know who I am, my name's Mark. I run the Purple Penny along with my wife Catherine. Catherine is out there getting a start on the mountain of mailing that needs doing. We run the Purple Penny, which is in Mawson Lakes, which is about 15 minutes north of Adelaide. We've been here for about, I think, coming up to 4 years in May. But I'm not 100% sure on that. It's either 3 years or 4 years in May. We deal in Australian decimal coins, world coins, Australian pre-decimal coins. Both of us are coin collectors, and we love collecting the weird and wonderful things that come in through the front door here. Right, it's going to be a fairly short video today because I don't have a topic of the day. The motivation was lacking a bit this morning, but I did find some interesting news stories that we'll run through. We'll just say hello to a few people. Happy New Year, Kate Parsons, Shane Stokes, Happy New Year. Hello, Aaron, thanks for joining in today. David Tytherley, Sandy, it's good to see you. Thanks for tagging Gloria there. Mike Ellery, Gary Tate, Gwen Simpson, Greg Gibbons, Michelle Shawler. I don't know you, Michelle. Welcome if it's the first time you've been watching today. Jason Ashworth, Charles Hunt, Jay, Glenn, Alex, Gloria is here. Hello, Gloria. Scott, Robert, Bevan, Powell, how are you, mate? Paul, oh, excellent, Paul. Paul's watching the live for the first time because of the public holiday. Vera is on at 1 o'clock today. I don't know who Vera is, Mike. You're going to have to enlighten me about who Vera is. Hello, Brett. Hello, Patrick. Hey, Donna, Jason, Peter, Sean, Mack, and Peter Holdsworth. Welcome everyone who is watching today. Please, I hope everyone's had a great new year. Right, let's just jump straight into the news and we'll do a little bit of show and tell at the end, just with some British crowns. Right, so yesterday was the 1st of January, which of course means the Mint, as usual, releases their Mint Mark coin for the year, and this year it's the CSIRO and their ship that they use for deep sea exploration, Creatures of the Deep they're calling it. There's 5 different coloured cards. We'll just pop up the one picture I could find online of this. Now, it's a bit unusual, this release, because they don't have the Mint Mark suite available yet. The Mint Mark suite isn't available until the first week in February. You can go in and strike coins in the gallery press at the Mint itself. Hello, Catherine. Welcome. I'm pleased that you could come along today and watch. The first coin of the year was won by a Taiwanese student, and she got I just remember the picture that was online. I believe the first coin of the year, plus all the Mint Mark and Privy coins, plus a silver version of the coin, all in a box with a certificate saying 001, so that's quite a valuable prize. I believe they didn't allow people to camp out this year, and it's the first time in 2 years they've actually done this. I believe you could line up at 5 o'clock to be able to strike the first coin of the year, so congratulations to that person. Now, these coins, they appear with the same design on them in the Mint Mark set. So the Mint Mark set will have a C Mint Mark coin and 3 Privy Mark coins, and they'll all have the same design. They are available in 5 different designed cards from the gallery press at the Mint, but the coins in each one is the same. Quite an attractive looking coin. The cards themselves, I did see someone auctioning a full set of them. I didn't want to pinch their pictures, so this is the only picture I could find this morning. The cards themselves are pretty spectacular. I've got to say, whoever's been designing the Mint Mark cards for the last 4 or 5 years has done a great job of it. Certainly a lot more spectacular than what they used to be. So they're the mint mark coins. I believe we'll be getting some of these in stock, the individual gallery press coins, towards the end of January, and we'll be getting the 4 coin sets in the first week in February. If you are interested in those, you can just contact us and we'll put your name down for that. Okay, so Mike has an interesting question here. What does the mint mark mean? They're all made in Canberra. So that's a great question, Mike. The sets themselves have 1 coin with a mint mark, and that's got the C on it, and then they have 3 coins with a privy mark, which have the initial capital of other cities around Australia, and that's really purely a marketing exercise. The privy marks don't mean that they're minted in those cities. It just means that they represent those particular cities. Perhaps the cities where ANDA shows are going to be. I'm not exactly sure how they determine what the other cities are. They did change that several years ago. They went from having mint marks and everything to having mint marks, privy marks, and there was one other type of mark that they were putting on things. I just can't remember the name of that. Quite confusing which one was which. So that's how the mint has worked their way around that, Mike. Good question. Good question. The mint mark sets and privy mark sets have got 4 coins in them. They'll be $33. There's a silver version of it, which is a silver dollar sized coin, so the same size as an aluminium bronze dollar, but struck in silver. That will be $60. And there's a 1/10 ounce gold coin, which is $385. They'll be available on the first Thursday in February. If you are interested in those, just reach out to us. Counter stamp. Thank you, Gwen. That's the other one. Mint mark, privy mark, and counter stamp. I don't know if they're still doing the counter stamps because they don't do the portable press anymore. Right. Back to the news slide here. 1st of January saw the country of Croatia join the euro. So the currency that they had before, and I can't remember the currency they had before, became superseded as of yesterday, and they have adopted the euro. Now, as usual, each country that adopts the euro, the European Union issues designs that are specifically for that country. The designs are exchangeable in all the countries that run with the euro, but it is a great thing that each country that uses the euro gets their own set of designs to use. We'll just have a quick look at what the Croatian designs are here. So the coins will be issued with Croatian designs for €2, €1, 50 cents, 20 cents, 10 cents, 5 cents, 2 cents and 1 cent. Yes, they still have a 2 cent and 1 cent euro available. The €2 is going to have a map of Croatia on it. The €1, which you can see at the top right of that image there, has what's called a kuna on it, which as far as I can tell is some sort of ferrety thing. I'm not 100% sure about that, a bit of a weaselly ferrety looking thing. Nikola Tesla is going to appear on the 50 cent, 20 cent and 10 cent. Nikola Tesla being a very famous physicist who originated from Croatia. And the 5 cent, 2 cent and 1 cent are going to have HR in Cyrillic. Now, it's not actually called Cyrillic, it's called Glagolitic, which is a Cyrillic-like language that countries from that part of the world use to represent themselves. HR stands for, now excuse my pronunciation here, I don't know how to say it, Hrvatska, which is the name that Croatia gives itself. And you can see the €5 cent at the bottom left there with the 2 little Cyrillic characters on it that represent the country of Croatia. So there's new designs of coins there that the Croatians are going to have to get used to. And this is a fairly regular thing where the euro is issued with new designs as new countries enter that economic community. So a really interesting bit of coin news there. Now, this was in the news last week. It's pretty terrible news, really. Edward Weary Dunlop, who was a medical doctor, a very well-renowned medical doctor who was captured in the fall of Singapore and held as a prisoner of war by the Japanese. His medals were stolen from his. Now, I don't know the relation. It's either his granddaughter or his daughter. I suspect it's his granddaughter because she didn't look old enough to be his granddaughter, but we'll just pop up his medals there. He is probably the best known World War II veteran in Australia, and he passed away in 1995, and his face appeared on a 50-cent piece in that year. And perhaps for younger people these days, they don't know who he is because he has been gone for a long time, but he was a very well-known man. You can see his portrait there from the War Memorial at the top left. The entire safe was... Catherine, thank you. The kuna is the previous currency of Croatia, and it is also the ferrety animal that is on the €1 coin. Thank you for sharing that with us, Catherine. That is very helpful. So the kuna was the currency and a ferrety-looking animal. Right, back to Weary Dunlop. The entire safe was stolen from his granddaughter's house in Melbourne, and it was stolen on the... Let me just have a look here at my notes. It was stolen on the 18th or 19th of December in Melbourne, and the entire safe was stolen, and the safe contained his medals, plus also all of the correspondence that went backwards and forwards between him and his wife during the war. Now, he didn't just serve in Singapore, he also served in the Greek campaign, the Cretan campaign, and also was a doctor at Tobruk when Tobruk was under siege. So, you know, this gentleman served everywhere that Australia basically served. During his time as a prisoner of war, he kept many hundreds of prisoners alive through his medical skills, and then after the war he created a lot of rehabilitation programs to help ex-prisoners of war. He did a lot of work for charity. You know, pretty incredible man. There's a great book about him if you ever want to read his biography. It's a fantastic biography. Now, these things that are stolen are essentially unsaleable. You will not be able to sell them. You will not be able to sell the letters. You will not be able to sell the medals. The medals are, of course, inscribed with his name. There's numerous Australian military medals there. There's an Order of Australia medal. This gentleman was the Australian of the Year in the late 1980s. There's international medals. They are all inscribed with his name, and they are unsaleable. Now, I just really hope that whoever has stolen this safe and finds these things just hands them in anonymously and doesn't do something crazy with them, because they really just need to be returned to his family where they belong. They have no value to anyone else, and it's a fairly dastardly deed to have stolen these things. So let's hope that they are turned in soon. If you are a coin dealer or dealer militaria, then please do keep your eye out for these sorts of things, especially the letters. They may end up being sold through Marketplace or something like that. The war medals, as I said, I believe they're unsaleable, but let's hope that they turn up. Terrible bit of news, that. Terrible bit of news. Now, another bit of news here, which is, you know, one of my favourites, is things being dug up in fields in the UK. This is 13 silver denarii that were dug up in a field in northeastern Wales, and what's really interesting about this is that they date from a very short time period, about 60 years or so, ranging from 64 AD through to 117 AD, and emperors on the coins range between Nero and Trajan. Now, archaeologists think that they were probably buried or lost about 120 AD, which is just a few years after the last dated coin. Now, they were found in a field in a place called Halkin. I believe I'm saying that correctly. Now, what's really interesting about Halkin is that the nearby mountain contains a lot of lead and zinc ore, and has been a active lead and zinc mine for thousands of years, right up until the early 20th century. The Romans used it for about 200 years. Of course, they would have found out about it because the local Celtic people were using it as a lead and zinc mine. And it's just a really interesting indication that commerce was going on in that area when the Romans were there, that these coins were found so close to that silver and lead mine, lead and zinc mine that the Romans were using so actively. I love this sort of stuff. I love the fact that mine sites like that can be in use for, you know, 3,000 or 4,000 years continuously, and the artifacts can be found at those mine sites from all of the peoples that worked on those mines. So it's a really fascinating bit of history for me. Those of you who have watched this before will know that anything found in the UK that is of a certain age or made of gold or silver or a certain number of coins must be handed in to the government. It is declared treasure, and the person who finds it is perhaps entitled to some of the proceeds of that treasure. They might be given it back, or it might be acquired by a museum, and the person who finds it will get the proceeds of that acquisition. Often the metal detectorist, and this was a metal detectorist that found these, will share those proceeds with the owner of the land. So they'll get 50% and the owner of the land will get 50%. So very interesting system over there for dealing with things that you dig up. If you dig something up, it isn't yours. It belongs to the government, and then they get to decide what it's worth and who gets what afterwards. So fascinating bit of English history there. Last point of the day, I just wanted to have a quick look at how red poppies were going, 2022 red poppies. I think I reported last week that they were sitting in between the 230 to 250 range, and they're still sitting there nicely now at auction. I looked at auctions for the last week, and apart from one outlier, they all finished between $230 and $250. That is a bit down on what it was a month ago. I would imagine that will continue. It'll settle down perhaps to around about $200 or so, and if you're still looking for one, that might be the time to buy a 2022 red poppy. That's it for the news. We bought a really beautiful collection from a Scottish gentleman the week before we closed, and he got them from his mum, his elderly mum who was in her 90s, and he believed that all the coins had been brought over with her and her parents when they emigrated to Australia, and there was some half sovereigns in there, and then a whole bunch of early 20th century and late 19th century English silver, plus some early 19th century English crowns. And those crowns are I think they're pretty amazing coins. Now I'll just hold one up here take it out of a flip. So those of you who don't know, a crown is 5 shillings. So 5 shillings is equivalent to, let me just think. So 2 shillings was equivalent to 20 cents. 5 shillings was equivalent to 50 cents. So this is the 50-cent piece of the day. About 27 grams of 92.5% silver. Big coin, over 30 millimeters in diameter. And this is a veiled head Victorian half crown. So this is when Queen Victoria was only wearing clothes in mourning after the death of Prince Albert, and she appeared on coins with several different portraits, and this is the last portrait. And then on the reverse there you've got St George and the Dragon, which you would probably recognise. So that's an 1897 British crown. So we can see an earlier portrait here of Queen Victoria. So this is called the young head portrait. Again, this is a crown. So I'll just cover up the light here so it's not too reflective. So you can see there a young portrait of Victoria. So of course she reigned from, someone's going to tell me here when she reigned from, 1830 something, late 1830s I believe, until 1901. So she was a young woman when she started as queen and was an older lady when she passed away. So again, this is I'm going to just peer over the top of my glasses here. This is an 1845 crown, and you can see here that it doesn't use the Pastrucci St George and the Dragon reverse there. It uses a coat of arms. Sorry, I'm just trying to get that to show up there. There we go. So again, 5 shillings, 27 grams of 92.5% silver. And then the last one I just wanted to share with you today, these are my absolute favourite English crowns. These are George III. So this coin is from 1820. So we're talking a 200-year-old coin here with the portrait of a very, very unattractive man on the obverse there. This is George III. This is called the bullhead portrait. He was an old, obese man by this point in his life, and he tried to keep his dignity by appearing on coins as a Roman emperor. So this is a very sort of Roman style portrait on the crown there, and then on these they did actually use the Pastrucci reverse on this coin, so you can see there St George and the Dragon. So there's some sort of mid-grade, low-grade British crowns that we bought just before Christmas. I always find them fascinating. A lot of these would have circulated in Australia. English coins did circulate in Australia until 1910, but these were brought from the UK by this gentleman's great grandparents, or grandparents I should say. Do keep an eye out on our website for those coins. They will appear in the next week or two. Right, I think we'll wrap it up there. We'll just have a look at any more questions here. Mike says, Greg says the medals will be hard to sell. Surprised they weren't in the Australian War Memorial. Look, Greg, they'll be impossible to sell. No one will buy them, and if someone does buy them, it'll be a targeted theft that goes to a ultra wealthy collector who will put them away, and as basically that person's a criminal. It does happen. Targeted thefts do happen in Europe of art and things like that, and they get sold on the black market. They certainly won't be able to sold publicly. And you're surprised they weren't in the War Memorial? Well, they are the family's property. The family doesn't have to put them in the War Memorial. So, if they're still precious to the family, then that's it. So, no, Samantha, I don't know what the $10 2023 coin looks like. We don't have any pictures. Right. Just we close out today. We've got Pia, come here, Pia. Just calling the dog here. Pia, come here. Yeah, Pia is Catherine's dog. She doesn't really care for me. Up. Come on, up. Come on, Pia. Up. That's it. So Pia is a trainee guide dog. Here she is here. Put her over there. Pia is a trainee guide dog, and she's been with us for about 6 or 7 months. She has passed all of her tests and passed them with flying colours, and will be leaving us on Friday to go and live forever with a vision impaired person. She's a lovely girl, and if you've been in here on a Saturday, you would have met her. She always slept quietly behind the counter and said hello to the odd person who said hello to her. So I'd like you all to wish Pia best of luck on her future journeys. She'll be sadly missed, but she's going to go on and do bigger and better things. So thank you, Pia, for staying with us for the last 6 months. It's been a pleasure. And if you're in at the end of January, do keep an eye out, because there'll be a new dog in here at the end of January, because there's always another dog. So thank you, Pia. See ya. Thanks, Kath. So that's it for today. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Happy New Year. And we'll be back next week. If you've got something you want me to talk about next week, please do contact me, because I'm running out of ideas about what to talk about after doing this stuff for 2.5 years. So, all right, bye for now, everyone. Happy collecting, stay safe, be happy, and that's all for now. Bye.